Now we are discussing the third organ of the union government, that is judiciary. This is the one of the important organ which mainly controls the executive and legislative in various types. Let us discuss about this in detail. In Indian judiciary, as we have earlier discussed, that it is an integrated judiciary and an independent judiciary, and it is a complete judiciary. Independent judiciary, we have learnt that its salaries and allowances are not framed before the parliament and they are not reduced during their tenure, and their judgments cannot be discussed in the parliament or legislature except during the impeachment motion. These are the features of independence nature of judiciary. And integrated means there is only one judicial system from Supreme Court to High Court and to the subordinate courts. It is running in an hierarchy model. This is called an integrated judiciary. In our judiciary, first we will learn about the Supreme Court. Let us learn the features of Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the area of operation is that means headquarters is situated at New Delhi, and according to 1773 Regulating Act, in the year 1774, a federal court was established by the British government, and its first Chief Justice was Sir Eliza Impey. We already discussed these matters in the constitutional framework also. In India, our Supreme Court is continuously running from, that is 28th January 1950. The seat of Supreme Court is New Delhi, and the language of Supreme Court is English. These are the important points. And if we compare the Federal Court of United States of America, our judiciary is an integrated model, but in the United States of America, there are federal courts for implementation of federal laws, and there are provincial courts for the implementation of state laws. That means the federal courts and provincial courts are different from each other, and federal courts are not subordinate to provincial courts are not subordinate to federal courts. But in India, Supreme Court is the highest authority, highest court, and Supreme Court can look into the matters of any central government acts and state government laws, and there are no separate judiciary like state judiciary. High Court is an integral part of Supreme Court. Supreme Court has superintendence and control over the High Court and District Court and all lower subordinate courts. And this is called a single judicial system. In India, we are following single judicial system. That of America's judicial system is double judicial system. Here Supreme Court and High Court and District Courts and subordinate courts, these all courts are work under the superintendence and control of Supreme Court. But here in the United States of America, there are federal courts as well as provincial courts. These courts are subordinate to Supreme Court, but provincial courts are not subordinate to federal courts. Both are independent bodies. Federal courts look into the matters of federal laws, and provincial courts are state government's courts, look into state laws. This is the essential difference between the Indian and US judiciary. We have taken this single judicial system from Government of India Act 1935. This is single judicial system, that means integrated judicial system, has been taken from the Government of India Act 1935. And our Supreme Court has been officially inaugurated, that is working from 28th January 1950, and its headquarters is situated at New Delhi, and its language, the language of the Supreme Court is English. And the details about this Supreme Court are mentioned in part 5. This is the important bit. And articles mentioned are Article 124 to 147 are describing about the Supreme Court. And the laws regarding the judiciary system or any system have been authorized by the Parliament. That means Parliament has been authorized to make any laws regarding the judicial system. Now look at the organizational structure. In the year 1950, when the first Supreme Court of Independence India came into being, there are totally 7 judges, 1 Chief Justice plus 6 others, and Parliament is being authorized to increase the number of judges. In 1956, the number of judges have been increased to 10. That means 1 Chief Justice plus 9 other judges. In the year 1960, the number 10 has been increased to 13. That means 1 plus 12, 1 Chief Justice plus 12 other judges. Totally there are 13 judges in the Supreme Court in 1960. And in the 1977, the number of judges were increased to totally 17. That means 1 Chief Justice plus 16 other judges. And in the year 1986, the number has been increased from 17 to 25. That means 1 Chief Justice plus 24 other judges of Supreme Court. And again after the gap of 23 years in 2009, presently there are 1 Chief Justice, 30 other judges, totally 31 judges in the Supreme Court. This is the historical background of our present Supreme Court's organization. Now, these amendments have been made by a law, that is Supreme Court Number of Judges Amendment Act. Supreme Court Number of Judges Amendment Act 2009 According to this act, the number has been increased from 25 to 31. And let us look at the appointment of the judges. If any position we are discussing the Indian polity, we have to look into the some common features. They are, first one is appointment. First about the judges, first one is appointment. For the examination point of view, we have to remember that the judges of Supreme Court are appointed by the President. The straightforward answer is appointed by the President. And next, the Chief Justice of India, CJI, Chief Justice of India, is also appointed by President. And when the President is appointing the judges, he should consult the Chief Justice of India mandatorily. With the consult of Chief Justice of India and other judges also, and it is the obligation. That means it is a compulsory duty of the President to consult the Chief Justice of India and other judges of the High Court, other judges of the Supreme Court, for appointment new judges for the Supreme Court. And regarding these consultations, there are 4 cases. Regarding whether this consultation is mandatory or not, there are 5 historical cases. First one is first judge case. First judge case. First judge case was occurred in the year 1982. In this case, the Supreme Court has implied that the consultation may not be non-concurrence. That means President's opinion, the Chief Justices of India's opinion may not be taken into account, and the consultation includes only exchange of views only. Exchange of views only. That means if when the President is appointing a judge to the Supreme Court, he may consult the Chief Justice of India and other judges of the concerned Supreme Court, and the views of Chief Justice and other judges are not binding on the President. This is the judgment given by the Supreme Court in first judge case. Next, second judge case. Second judge case, the Supreme Court, it has given judgment in the year 1993. In 1993 second judge's case, it reversed its ruling. It reversed its earlier ruling and told that this consultation means concurrence. This consultation means concurrence. That means when the President is appointing new judges for Supreme Court, he has to consult the opinion of Chief Justice of India and other judges, and he should follow the advice tendered by the Chief Justice of India. And advice tendered by the Chief Justice of India is binding on the President. The advice of Chief Justice of India is binding on the President. That means the President has to compulsorily follow the opinion of the Chief Justice of India. But before taking a decision, this is Chief Justice of India has also to consult. He has to consult his senior most judges. His senior most judges. That means his decision has been based on his three senior most judges decision. That is collegium. Next, in the third judge's case, the Supreme Court has given the judgment in the year 1998. In this, the consultation of Chief Justice of India and the plurality of judges, that means majority decision of the judges should be taken and not sole opinion of CJI. That means the advice tendered by the Chief Justice of India should be in consultation with the advice tendered by the senior most judges of the Supreme Court, that is collegium. And he should consult, the CJI should consult collegium. What is the meaning of collegium? Collegium is a group of 4 or 5 senior most judges. 4 senior most judges are called collegium. So the Chief Justice of India should consult this collegium and take their opinions into counting and tender his decision to the President, and President is binding on the decision and he has to follow the decision. Even in this case, third judge's case, even if 2 judges given all adverse opinion, if out of these 4 judges, any 2 judges have given an adverse opinion, he should not send the recommendation about the judge. That means there must be a consensus of at least 4:1 consensus should be submitted to the President. This is the third judge's case. And in between, in the year 2014, by 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, which came into force in the year 2015, the central government has appointed a National Judicial Commission. National Judicial Appointments Commission, NJAC. National Judicial Appointments Commission. This has been passed by the Parliament in 2015, but in the year 2015 itself, Supreme Court has declared both the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act 2015 and the NJAC Act 2015 be null and void. So consequently, the earlier collegium system which was in force, that became very operative. And in the fourth judge's case, fourth judge's case. The Supreme Court was given the decision in the year 2015. That is, Supreme Court opined that the National Judicial Appointments Commission would affect the independence of judiciary. Independence of judiciary. So this is the history behind the appointment of judges of Supreme Court. That means a collegium should be there. The collegium is comprising of the Chief Justice of India and four senior most judges of Supreme Court, and there should be a consensus between the CJI like 4:1, and they should submit their opinion to the president, and president is binding on their decision. This is the appointment of judges. Next, regarding the appointment of Chief Justice of India. Appointment of Chief Justice of India. Between the years 1950 and 1973, a senior most judge was appointed. Between 1950 and 1973, the senior most judge was appointed as the Chief Justice of India. Senior most judge of Supreme Court. But in the year 1973, due to some political obligations, Justice A.N. Day was appointed as the Chief Justice of India by superseding 3 senior judges. In 1973, A.N. Ray has been appointed as the Chief Justice of India by the then government, superseding 3 other senior judges. So the 3 other judges have resigned to their positions in the against into the making their opposing remarks on the government. They resigned their post. It occurred once in 1973, and in 1977 M.U. Baig. 1977 M.U. Baig was also appointed as the Chief Justice of India, superseding one senior judge. This judge was also resigned his position and the against of this decision this discretion of the central government was curtailed by the second judge's case in 1993. Second judge's case in 1993. The discretionary power of the central government to appoint any judge as the Chief Justice of India has been curtailed by the Supreme Court's second judge's case. So, Supreme Court ruled that the senior most judge of the Supreme Court should alone be appointed as the Chief Justice of India. In the second judge's case, Supreme Court has ruled that the senior most judge only should be appointed as the Chief Justice of India in future. These are the about the appointments of judges and chief justices of India. Next we look at the qualification. Qualification, generally the basic qualification is he should be a citizen of India, and second qualification is he should have 5 years continuous experience in any high court. That means he should be worked as a judge of high court, or continuous experience as an advocate in any of the high court for a period of 10 years, or a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the president. These are the basic qualifications. First qualification is citizen of India. Second qualification is he should be a judge of a high court for a period of 5 years at least continuously, and or an advocate of any high court for a period of 10 years, or a distinguished jurist in the opinion of president. These are the basic qualifications. And the constitution has not fixed any minimum age for this position. So for the examination point of view, we have to note down this point: no minimum age has been prescribed for appointment as the judge and chief justice of India. This, so the no minimum age has been prescribed. And next, if we go to the third option, that is the oath. The oath or affirmation of the office made before the president. Before the president, that they will bind by the constitution, and they will build the integrity of the nation, and they shall do their duty perfectly. In their oath of affirmation they have to make. And the tenure, generally we will discuss it, it is not fixed. The tenure of the judges of the Supreme Court are not fixed, but they can do the work till the age of 65 years, until the age of 65 years. And next we discuss about the resignation part. They submit their resignation to the president, because the president appoints them, so they have to submit their resignations to the president. And next about removal. The removal process of judge of High Supreme Court or Chief Justice of India are called impeachment motion. Impeachment motion. This impeachment motion on a judge of Supreme Court can be initiated and on two grounds only. First one is proven misbehavior, and incapacity. If under these two grounds only, a senior most as judge of a Supreme Court can be removed from his position. And for removing his, at least 100 Lok Sabha members have to suppose the 100 Lok Sabha members have to support the motion for the starting, and they have to submit the application to the speaker. and speaker has the right to accept or reject the removal motion, and if they are initiating the same removal motion in the Rajya Sabha, at least it should have the support of 50 member of parliaments of Rajya Sabha, and the application should be given to the chairman, and he may also accept or reject the proposal. And if the speaker has accepted the removal proposal, he would constitute a committee. The speaker would constitute a committee. Under this committee, members are, first one is Chief Justice of India, or if he is not available, any judge of Supreme Court, and Chief Justice of any High Court, and distinguished jurist.